Hi friends, it's Kayla Moran and welcome back to the Let's Get Candid podcast. How's everybody doing today? Happy Thursday, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever day or time it is that you're listening. So happy to be back on the mic with you guys and so happy to be back doing episodes every single week for you guys. I needed that break so much, but I did really miss talking to you guys and I hope you enjoyed last week's episode with one of my favorite authors. And we talked a little bit more about relationships and love, and it was a different topic than what I normally talk about on here. So that was really fun for me as well. Today we're going to switch gears and talk to two friends that have their own podcast together, and actually one of the hosts of that podcast is my podcast editor, Amanda. So shout out to Amanda. So happy that we got to record again and this time get to have your friend Lauren on with you because they started this podcast called That's So Us, which is all about friendship and music and social media and self-development, self-care, self-love, figuring out who you are and just bringing you along the ride of being in your mid-20s and figuring life out. And they're just sharing their experiences and their interests, and it's a really fun, fresh conversation, which I really like. So I get to introduce you guys to That's So Us, and I hope you guys enjoy. But before we dive into that conversation, I wanted to do a quick suck and sweet of the week. Like always, my suck of the week is that I broke a nail today. Not really, that does suck and it hurts. But the real suck of the week is just feeling very bittersweet. And I'm PMSing, and anybody else, like I've been PMSing, or not PMSing, I've had a cycle for 13 years now, and you would think that I would know when it's PMS and I'm just being an emotional girl. I don't know the difference. I'm really good at being in tune with my body and knowing when my cycle is coming, but I can never differentiate my emotions from just PMS and like a regular emotional episode, you know? And so the last few days I've just been PMSing and been really sensitive and really emotional, and yesterday something happened and I was being a little bit hostile and I got called out for it in text messages with somebody, and you know, I had to take a step back and I apologized for the way I was responding because it wasn't how I normally respond, especially with that person. And today I took a step back and I was like, okay, I feel a lot better about the situation now. Like things are good. But why do I do that? Like, why do we all do that? PMS is such a bitch sometimes. But yeah, I thought that was funny. It's not a suck of the week. It's just hilarious, to be honest. And my sweet of the week is that I just had a really great call with two of my mentors who have become two of my best friends in the industry. And I just really enjoy when mentorship becomes friendship and you guys can talk about business and work and also about personal lives and just share the ups and the downs, because honestly, no one knows entrepreneurship quite like other entrepreneurs. And it's like law school. Like if you're not in it yourself, you don't always understand. And it's really hard sometimes to relate to people, especially my friends that are lawyers. Like, yeah, we're all lawyers, but the people who have a boss and a firm, you know, supporting them, or a company, it's a little different than doing it all on your own. And sometimes I don't feel like I have someone to go to. So that was really nice. It felt so good. Just connect with them, chat, hang out for a little bit. And we're talking that maybe we'll make it more of a regular thing, because it was really nice to just make space for each other. And that's something that I'm really working on right now. I'm in my soft girl era. I really want to be, at least. And I really want to lean into friendships that feel good, relationships that feel good, and just make time for people who, you know, show that they want me in their life and make the effort to be in my life as well, not just me always being the one that's a giver. And so it was really nice to just have that little moment. And now I am getting back to work for a few more hours, and then I'm going to a networking event tonight, and I have a really exciting event tomorrow night. And, you know, then I'm going to New York again next week for just 2 days, staying with one of the girls that I was on the call with and going to a really exciting event that I don't want to spoil the details about. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's been a good day. it's been a good day so far. So I'm in a good mood, and I'm excited to see where the rest of the day and the rest of the week goes. So I hope everyone is having a really good week. Let's dive into this episode. I do want to give you guys a warning though that we do talk a little bit about eating disorders and self-harm. So if this is a trigger warning for you and you are not able to listen to this episode, I totally understand, and sign off here. And I will talk to you guys next week. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that content warning, trigger warning, because, sometimes it's not fun to hear that unexpectedly. But that is a topic that does come up because that is a big part of our lives sometimes. And we do need to share those moments as well when we are able to. And to show that, you're not alone and that we have all at times experienced moments like that. I know I have. And I've talked about them a little bit on here and in other platforms and other forms of content. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know. So if you like this episode, please leave a rating and review. Please subscribe to the show, share with a friend, tag us as you're listening. Let me know who you want to see next, what topics you want me to cover next, and I will talk to you guys all very soon. Let me know if you have any questions for me for my solo episode coming soon. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. Meet Lauren and Amanda of That's So Us. So Amanda and Lauren, what is something people wouldn't know about you just from following you?
Oh gosh.
I'll go first. I don't know if this is what I said last time I was on the podcast. So if it is, well, whatever. But for me, it would be mostly that like people don't know that I'm actually like really shy in person. I think because I post a lot online of my life and like whatever, people just assume like I'm very extroverted in person. But once you meet me in person, I'm very like, I think quiet. So I would say that I'm just like more shy.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like I would say the same thing, but also it's like I can match energies. So if like the person who I'm talking to or hanging out with isn't like giving me like any energy, that I'm gonna match that. And so sometimes it's just not a vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I'm the same way. I wouldn't say I'm like a super shy person, but when you first get to know me, if I don't feel comfortable right away, it does take me a little longer. So I do come across shy. But
yeah.
then once I'm comfortable with you, I will talk your ear off, and like I'm super it's funny, I was out with a couple of friends on Saturday night and I started talking about the bar exam, and my friend was just watching me like have a conversation, and like I'm so like animated, my hands, I'm passionate, I'm loud. He's like, "Ooh, what is this side of you've never seen me like that." And it's like if I'm passionate about something or if I'm enjoying myself, I'm like very animated. But if I don't know you and feel comfortable, I am really shy. But also, yeah, I match energies. Like if people aren't giving me the same energy, like I kind of feel like, okay, I can't really be myself. So like I do clam up a little bit. So I'm both.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I am.
Yeah. But what's that like then? Like if you like Amanda, especially like since you are more of a shy person, like sharing your life online, what prompted you to start sharing so much of your life online, and like what is it like now?
Yeah. So when I first started posting my life online in like a non because when I started online I was like 11 and it was like more so like fan Twitter and stuff. So when I started sharing more of like actually me, I was like 15, 16 and I didn't have like many friends. So that was kind of like my outlet of like where I can be myself and like not feel kind of scared to do so. And I've never been like that scared to post online. I was more scared of people finding it rather than like being myself online. What was the question?
No, just like what is it like now since you are more shy in person, like
Oh,
sharing most
yeah.
of yourself online?
I think for me, I kind of separate it sometimes. I'm like, oh, like this is Amanda, like YouTube Amanda. And then in real life, that's like me. I mean, I've gotten a little less shy over time just because I feel like I've shared so much that I'm like, okay, everyone knows everything about me, even though that's probably not the case. So it's helped me open up more in person. But I don't know. I think I take time to open up to people though. Like it has to be someone like I really click with to like be myself right away versus like takes me
Yeah.
a while.
Like also talking to a camera is so different than hanging out with people in real life,
Mhm.
because like, and once you do it for so long, it's like you get so comfortable with just talking to
Yeah.
a camera. Because I know growing up, like I would just talk to myself like in my room, like in front of a mirror, which is like kind of the same thing as speaking into a camera. So it's just like you get really used to that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I still talk to myself. I think
Oh,
everyone.
oh,
Oh, me
100%.
too.
Yeah, no, I do too.
All the time.
And I feel
Mhm.
like also like having a podcast, it's a stream of consciousness, and like that's where I get like my feelings out and my emotions. Like that's my out.
Mm-hmm.
But Amanda, you mentioned fan Twitter, and that's how you like started online, and you guys actually met on
Mm-hmm.
fan Twitter. So can you talk about how you guys met on social media, and how did you take a social media friendship to become an in real life friendship? Because I feel like that's such a hot topic now.
Well, I haven't been like a part of the whole Stan Twitter like community or anything. I joined like 2 years ago or last year. I kind of forget, honestly. um I joined really quick for some completely like different unrelated thing. And then we met on a space. They do spaces, which I had no clue what spaces were. I just joined one for some random reason. I was like bored one day. And then Amanda was on it with a couple of other people. And then she DM'd me afterwards and she was like, she gave me her number and she was like, I feel like we're going to be best friends. Something along those lines. And then we started talking every day, like after that.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
What was your experience with it, like starting out so young and now that it's been like over 10 years?
Yeah. So Stan Twitter is one of the most toxic places I've ever been a part of. I'm not like I don't associate myself with it really now. Like I talk to people on it sometimes, but like not like I was before. For growing up, it was really weird. So my account was a Justin Bieber account, and it got pretty popular to the point where like when I would go to his shows, people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, is this like your like username and stuff?" And like one person took a picture with me, which is like really weird. Um, but yeah, growing up on it taught me a lot, and I like to like I think I chronically grew up online because like I said I didn't have a lot of friends in person, so that was like my space. But now it's still as toxic as it used to be, and there's like people that are my age, which is like 25 and up, that are still on it that are as toxic as they were when they were like 12. So it's not like my favorite space. I don't really go on it that much anymore.
I think that's good though that you recognize how toxic it was, and like, grateful for it and everything that you gained from it, but also recognizing like that's
Hmm.
a good place for me to be, and that you can like separate yourself from it now. It's like that's
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's funny, Twitter Spaces, like I've never used it. I know it's like their version of Clubhouse, but I've never actually used Twitter Spaces. So that's funny that that's how you guys met.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's weird because like I would have never like I started it, so it's like a room where people like talk if anyone doesn't know what it is, and like anyone can join. And I'm like really not the type of person. Like I said, I'm shy. I don't like talking to people I don't really know, like right off the bat. So I don't know what made me do that day, but that's what I did.
yeah,
And I also don't join those like so it's just like it was like meant to be.
yeah. Hey, everything happens for a reason. That's a common theme on the podcast. But yeah, like how do you guys go from texting every day to like becoming like in real life friends? Like who made the move to be like we should like go meet up, or do you guys live in the same city? Like what's that? Like what has that been like, that transition
Um,
to like texting all day to like actually friends?
so we don't live like she lives in Ohio and I live in Montreal, so it's like I don't know how long that is, but it's kind of far. We met in person because the person that like we met through was Madison Beer. And she was having a festival. Well, she was performing at a festival in LA in June. And one of our old friends at the time lives there. And we all decided to just meet up. I hadn't met that other person either. And we just made a weekend out of it. And then I went to graduation the next day in Montreal.
I do remember this. That's scary. Like how do you like from like not knowing somebody to all of a sudden like traveling to meet them across, or for you in a different country, for Lauren halfway across the country. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
what was that like? Were your parents afraid? Were you worried like maybe this won't work out?
Honestly, no, because
Well,
go
no, no,
ahead.
go.
Okay. We were talking, we had like hour-long conversations. Like literally our conversations were like 6 hours long, and I'd never felt so comfortable and so open with someone in such a short like amount of time. So meeting, it was just like, I don't know, like we were childhood friends. It was so weird.
Yeah, I didn't feel like usually, like I said, when I meet people, well, I was stressed. It gave me so much anxiety because I'm just like a very big like first impressions person, and I always give like the worst one. At least I think I always give the worst ones. Maybe it's like my anxiety telling me that, but I was just stressed because I was like, okay, like we get along so well, like when we talk on the phone and stuff like that. But like maybe I'm just like a trash person in person. Yeah, that's just how I think. So I was really like anxious, and because Lauren had already met our old friend and I didn't, so I was going in it meeting like two new people, so that was a lot for me. But I mean, yeah, I think it went well. And like you said, like sometimes things don't work out and we're not friends with the other person, but that's like a whole other thing. But I think it's just like you don't know until you meet people type of
Yeah,
thing.
I agree. I mean, there's like I was talking about this earlier with someone, like we have to be wary of strangers for sure. There's a reason why it's stranger danger, but everyone before you meet them is a stranger. So you have to like
Hmm.
you guys talked for so long beforehand, like you guys got to know each other, you built a friendship that you felt like you knew them. And of course, like there's always the situation where like that person isn't who they say they are and they're not that genuine. That does happen. But
Hmm.
I think I like to think that we're pretty good judges of character, especially having grown up online. Like we interact with so many different people and so many different characters and so many like, we consume so much content about people and life that like but that does hurt us too when we don't like know how to be like around actual humans at the same time. So it's like an interesting dichotomy. But like once you guys met in person, like was it instant? Like what happened next? Like how did you, because now you guys are long distance besties, like how often do you see each other?
Hmm.
Like where did the friendship go from there once you guys met?
I'm so like awkward talking about this. Okay, so when we met, I think it was fine. Like we picked her up from the airport. I think it was like fine. Then we went for food and like it didn't feel awkward for me anymore after like 30 minutes. From there, I feel like our friendship just grew more. Um, I don't think we see each other that often, to be honest, because flights are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think like every like 4 months, I would say like an estimate.
I feel like that's pretty good. That's once a quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or well, quarter's 3 months.
I
So
don't
like
know.
a little bit, it's like it's 3 times a year. So that's not that bad.
Yeah.
We actually have a trip planned end of July.
That's
I'm coming to
exciting.
Canada. Yeah. My first time, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I know. I need to go to Canada too. I need to visit Amanda. But
Canada's so fun.
Yeah.
yeah, I need to. Definitely in the summer when it's not freezing cold. I mean, you're from Ohio, so
Yeah.
you can use the cold, but like for me,
Oh
I cannot
yeah.
do the cold. Um, but yeah, so then you guys started a podcast. So can you talk a little bit about your podcast and like you said, grab some tissues and Shirley Temples because that's what us just became everyone's go-to 3 a.m. phone call, which I love that. So talk a little bit about starting a podcast, what you guys talk about on the podcast, and like the Shirley Temples, like what's with the
Well, Shirley Temples are our favorite drinks. We like always talk about wanting them. We actually got cherries tattooed on us when we were in New York the last time. But I don't even know how the whole like idea came about. I feel like because we had those like hour-long conversations, we knew that like our conversations flowed really well. And I feel like I don't know, podcasts is kind of just like made sense.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna call you out for a second. So,
Okay, go ahead.
when when Lauren and I first started talking, she was always talking about how she wants to start a YouTube, a podcast, and all these
Yeah.
things. And I was like, I'm a very big like do it type of person. Obviously, since I have so many like different streams of social media, she never did it. To this day, she hasn't posted a YouTube video, but that's okay. But then yeah, we were talking about it, and I was like, I don't remember who like how it really came about either. It kind of just happened. But we were talking about like starting a podcast and like we were brainstorming names and then all of a sudden we had like a Pinterest mood board made and then I thought we were going to make like a logo like a digital one cuz we don't live near each other so I was like, "Oh, that's easier." But then Lauren was like, "Oh no, like we should do it in person." So then we booked flights to New York and then one thing after another it kind of just happened.
Yeah. I think that's like my podcast was like that too. Like I like had the idea of it and then someone was like, no, you need to do it. And like within it was like 2 months, but like considering how much I had to think it through like logistically, like once I finally like set my head on like, okay, I'm doing this, it all happened very quickly. And I think that's just like a good piece of advice, like if you have an idea, if you have a gut feeling that you want to do something, just go for it and like figure it out later. And it's
Mhm.
kind of even your friendship too. It's like, okay, like we have this connection, like let's like lean into it. Let's pursue that. And it's been like really great for you guys. So what are some things you guys talk about on the podcast? Like, is it like conversational? Is it interviews, like self-help? Like what is that to us about?
When we're recording this, we only have like 4 episodes out right now, so I don't know when this is gonna go up. But right now it's just us. We want to do interviews like with guests in the future, but those we want to do in person because I feel like that's just more fun, and especially I don't know, it just sounds more fun. I don't do that on my podcast, my other podcast, since I have one. So in person would be fun, but we kind of just talk about everything and anything. If I had to like categorize it, I would say like it's a mix of like lifestyle slash self help slash mental health slash slash like life experiences. So a lot of different things. I don't think there's like a niche for it per se. And yeah, that's what I think it's about, like random stuff, whatever we're feeling,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's how mine is. I'm just curious because I feel like people nowadays are so like, oh, what's your podcast about? Like the name has to like tell you everything that it's about. And like people
Mhm.
like, I don't know, like we're going back into this niche thing again. I'm like, no, like you can't put me in a box. Like I have so many different interests and want to talk about everything that like my podcast is literally a stream of consciousness. I mean, Amanda knows best. She has to hear it from me or everybody else does. But I like that it's just you guys being yourselves and like the 3 a.m. phone call, like you guys talk about anything. You can laugh, you can cry, talk about whatever happened in the news that day or a movie that just came out or a song that you guys like those are fun. Like I wish more people, like I try to listen to those podcasts and sometimes they're so hard to listen to because like like it's like all inside jokes or like super
Yeah.
like niche like between the two of them where it's like this shouldn't really be a podcast. Like you could
Mhm.
do this like yourselves, like or on like a live. I'm like, I don't really know if I need to listen to this on a podcast, but I think when it's coming from a place of like sharing your experiences and your stories to help others, then it makes it a lot more enjoyable with like the tidbits stuck in there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you guys, you told me like we always joke about saying how we share the same brain. Like, what do you guys mean? Like, do you finish each other's sentences? Like how connected are you guys? Like, really?
Super. It's so weird. I've never like met another person who just understands me. Like it's even hard to explain and I can't even comprehend it, but it's just really crazy. We think alike, like the same things, we have the same interests, but it's just something about our connection. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, like for example, there was this one time we said this on our podcast, but there was this one time where like Lauren screenshotted like a picture from Pinterest and she had sent it to me like a few days later and she's like, "Oh, like this like made me think of you." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I went through my screenshots and I had the exact same picture saved and we saved it the exact same day. So it's like stuff like that or
Mhm.
like sometimes like I don't know, like we say things and we're like, "Oh, like I was literally just thinking that," or like it's just like weird things like that. I don't know how to
Like
explain it
literally,
either.
no, the other day I went to the Cheesecake Factory and Amanda was like, I was just thinking about going there. So it's like things like that always happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's cool. Like, it's like they always talk about soulmates being like a relationship, like a love like friend, like a love relationship, like a partner. But I think soulmates also can be friends. And I think I would argue they're even more important for them to be friends because those are the people that will be there for you throughout everything. And one of my friends actually, like I think she's like one of my friends' soulmates, sent me a couple of weeks ago a TikTok and it was like, I think the reason why I don't need a male or female, like a significant other, is because my female friendships are so strong and like they nurture me in the ways that I need it that like I don't really need a partner. Like I have my people. And so it's cool when you find like your kindred spirit like that, your soulmate that like just gets you and you don't really have to explain or try. And I think that's the cool thing about social media friendships is like you guys already like on some level are on the same page because you're both choosing to share your lives online. It's like you get that aspect, which maybe
Mhm.
people that are not in that world would not understand, but that's a fundamental part of like who you are.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think like because we
100%.
met like through music, That's like one of the like number one things we share in common. And like my friends like from my hometown and stuff, like of course like they're good friends and everything like that. But I feel like for like that part of my life, they don't really get it. And like as much as I can try to explain to someone like, oh, like this is why like I travel for shows or this is why I do whatever I do, it's like harder to explain to someone that doesn't see it in the same way as you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're always traveling, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" She's like, "I have a concert this year," and I'm like, "Wait, that's so cool." I'm like, "I wanna go to a concert." Like, I wanna go. I wanna do something fun.
Okay,
Um,
well, when I visit, we can go to a concert. I
yeah,
don't know
actually,
who
I
will be
might
there, but
I might go to, like, a Quinn. I forgot the name of the artist right now. Some concert tomorrow. I need to actually text my friend if I'm going to that.
I
But yeah,
think you should go.
trying to. I'm trying to be more social this year. Like, I feel like for so long I was like in this little bubble, and now I'm like, I just like I've come out of my shell. I'm like, I'm ready to be social. I want to meet everybody. I want to do everything. And I'm like, I need to like slow my roll. Like, there's not enough hours in the day to do everything that I want to do. And like, also, I'm gonna be tired. Like, I need to give myself a chance, take a break. But also,
Mhm.
you only live once. Um, have you guys gone to concerts together? Like, what are your favorite things to do when you guys do get a chance to spend time together? Like, what do you guys go do?
We have
Yeah.
gone, yeah. Our last one was it Maggie? Yeah, right? In DC.
Mhm.
Yeah, Maggie Lindemann. That was really fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's kind of
Amanda's way
small.
more
Yeah.
versed.
I feel like a lot of the people we like are small.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've been to like 3 or 4 shows together now.
that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really one to like if like I'm not gonna discover music on my like if you send it to me, you're like you should listen to this song, you
Mhm.
might like it. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'll probably like fall in love with it and like listen to every song of theirs. But like I'm not usually the one discovering music.
Mhm.
Mostly because I just listen to like Spanish music on repeat.
Oh, yes.
I'm in a
Yes.
country music era right now
Can't
too,
relate.
but
A
it's
country
like
music,
either
you said?
yeah,
Oh
I'm like
no.
it's like
That's
one or
like
the other.
that's the one of the ones that I can't do.
No, I love
Same.
country music, but yeah,
Yeah.
like either
I
one
mean,
or
I've
the other.
tried. I mean,
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I mean, I don't like all of country music,
mm-mm.
but there's some songs or some artists where I tend like I don't know, I like to think of it as like country music and Spanish music, the common thread is that they're usually song written, like singer-songwriter, like, they're not these commercial, like, catchy pop songs. They're like actually deep
Yeah,
real life people's stories. One's in a different language, but it's the same concept. And so I think
I
that's to me why
agree.
I like it. Like, I think they both like, people think I'm like, country and Spanish, like, 2 completely different things, but, like, they go together for me in my head because of that. Like, I can relate, like, I listen to a country song and I'm like, "Oh, that's my relationship with this person," or like, "Oh, like, I've been through that," or same thing with Spanish music. And, like, I will send my friends every day, like, me or at whoever, or like, "This is my relationship with whoever." My friends like, "Stop finding signs in every song you listen to." I'm like, I literally can't help it. Like, at this point, it's just that lyric, like, I happen to tune into that particular lyric that in that moment, and, like, that reminded me of somebody, and, like, I attach meanings to songs. People are like, "This is annoying.
Mhm.
Stop doing that." But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I go through phases with music and TV and, like, everything. Like, it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Like, lately, there's this one country artist, Megan Maroney, and she has a song called "Tennessee Orange." It's about
Oh, I've heard
Knoxville,
that.
Tennessee, and about football and falling in love in Knoxville with someone that she, like, shouldn't and didn't expect to. And I was like, "Oh, this made me nostalgic for Knoxville." Like, I do kinda miss that place. And, like, other songs of hers are pretty good. But, yeah, like, it depends. Like, it just like, I'll get hooked through, like, one lyric or a song, not an artist necessarily. And I don't really go to concerts as much as I want to. Also, because 'cause they're just so expensive. How do you guys afford to go to concerts?
Well,
Um,
whenever
I don't
I
know.
I traveled to Europe for Madison, I had 3 jobs at the time. So I was just trying to save and I somehow managed. But I always say the memories like well, okay, money
No, you
money
don't. No,
will
yeah,
come. I feel like money will come.
absolutely. And I think, and I think it's also part of it. People choose to spend their money differently for sure. But it's just like, I don't know, because man, I feel like you're always traveling. I'm like, Jesus Christ, lady, like, do you ever like sit in one place for a week and like?
I do. I'm not going anywhere now until like June, so
June's in
I
3
don't
weeks.
know.
Tunes in the
You know what? I was home all of May. Was I? Yeah, I was home all of May. So that's an accomplishment.
Proud of you. I feel like you're always somewhere, and I'm like, damn, I want that life. But no, it's funny. I joke, but about that because it's just hard. Like, also, like, people don't realize that it's like a priorities thing. And like, my dad and I were actually talking.
Mhm.
Like, I got really into Formula One recently, like the car racing, and the tickets are really expensive for the races in the U.S., but they're cheaper for the ones in Europe. Obviously, the flight and the accommodations adds up, but we could go to a historic race somewhere in Europe and save money on the actual experience of the race and like make a trip out of it. And I think if you're going to travel for something like a concert or like an event, like if you make a trip out of it, it makes it worth it. And like you're willing to save,
Mhm.
put more energy and prioritize that. And it's a hobby for you. So then it works out. It's just people that I think don't really comprehend that. It's like, oh, she's always traveling. Like she's never in one place at the same time. Like, does she have a job? It's like,
Yeah. Well, people have been like, "Oh, like it's your parents' money and type of shit," but like my parents do not give me a cent for this stuff. Like if
Yeah.
I go on a trip, if you see me at a concert or a trip, like it's 90, not even 99, 100% my money. I just like, yeah, like I save for this. Like right now, like we're gonna talk about Madison. She's supposed to go on tour at some point this year or next year, and I've already started like saving for it on the side. So like that's how I kind of make it work. Like I don't just like have money coming out of my ass like
yeah,
that, like people think. Um so it's just like for me a lot about saving, and like you said, I like to travel and I like to go to shows, so like doing both of them at the same time is like
yeah,
two
it's
in
part of
one
the
for
experience.
me. And yeah. And like whenever I'm somewhere, I always try and make sure like I actually do something and not just sit in the hotel the whole time, because I don't know. I like to like experience things as well, not just the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, I was like, because that's the part like that I like wasn't clear on. Like, you don't really talk about like that you do other things. It's just like she's traveling and she's at a concert and then she's like home again. It's like you just travel
You
for the
know.
show. But like if you are experiencing other things and like making the most out of your time there, then I think it's totally worth it. Um, that's the
I'm crazy when
beauty.
I travel. Like, ask Lauren, like, I'll make an itinerary. Like,
Oh
we're
yeah.
doing things. Like, that's the type of person I am.
Yeah, that's my mom. I'm like, I'm a good mix of like, I want an itinerary, but I want it to be loose enough that if I feel like I just want a break, like we could take a break.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love having, I'm not really one to be in hotels or Airbnbs. I don't really do hotels. I mostly do Airbnbs because like I'm never gonna be in the hotel. So like I don't need the amenities, and
Yeah.
Airbnb saves me so much more money, and usually like they're more like authentic to wherever you are and
Hmm.
closer and smaller and like easier. And then I really get to just be out in wherever I am experiencing the culture. Um, is like Madison Beer your guys' favorite artist? Because like that's how you guys met. You guys talk about her a lot.
I think I would
Yeah.
say her and like Justin Bieber are my like number one.
I know. For me, it's like Madison. I love Ariana. Just because I also grew up with her. Like I loved Ariana since I was a little girl. Like I was 11. 'Cause she was on
I think
Victorious.
I've told Amanda this. I hated Ariana Grande growing up
Really?
be- because my ex-boyfriend in high school cheated on me with a girl who kind of looked like her, and she would dye her hair that like
Who
red
looked like
velvet
her?
Oh
red
my
to look like
goodness.
her. And I just like, hated that girl. And
Trauma.
him and I are friends. Like there's
Trauma.
no beef now, but it's just like I mean this was like 10 years ago. Him and I like are like Facebook friends now or whatever. And like her and I too, like one time she like swiped up on my story, like said something to me and I was like, oh, like you follow me? Like, oh, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm like, bitch, why are you talking to me? But there's no beef, actual beef. Like it was just stupid, but I
High
hated it.
school stuff.
She annoyed it the hell out of me because of that one girl. But no, now I like her. I'm excited for her
That's
to do
funny.
it. I
Wicked, yeah. I'm so excited.
but
Oh yeah.
Justin
And
Bieber, I've never been a belieber or anything, but I do like his music.
Believer.
I don't know, like I'm not a fan, like a stan like that. Like I'm not someone who gets like do I know what's going on with people like pop culture, and I love pop culture, but I'm not like super heavily invested in anyone.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm also though
Yeah.
invested in like the people themselves. Like I love like Taylor Swift, for example, but I'm not like a Swiftie, you know, like I'll listen to her old stuff, but I don't know, like who else is really big?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a
Like
Swiftie, but I do
One
like,
Direction.
yeah,
like
One Direction.
yeah, no, I've never been like a One
I did
Direction
love One Direction.
stan.
I got to like 2 or 3
Yeah.
concerts in a
I
row.
think it was like when we were growing up, it was either like you're on Justin Bieber or like you're on One Direction. Like there's
Yeah.
That's
no
very,
both. You choose.
very true. Very
Yeah,
true.
I wasn't either.
No, I was One Direction.
Well, what about Jonas Brothers? Jonas Brothers were my life.
That was my favorite.
Oh my
That was my
God.
first concert. That and Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff's my first concert.
Hillary Duff was my first, and then it was right after
Then it was
Jonas
Jonas
Brothers
Brothers.
and
Me
Hannah
too.
Montana. Like it was like she was a part of the tour.
Oh, iconic. We didn't get her.
I don't know what. I can't tell you which tour it was. Actually,
Oh, me
they
either. Too long ago.
they just came out with like a father-daughter dance song for like weddings, because it's written about their daughters. And one of my friends, Alana, who is a major Jonas Brothers stan, she's like, "This is gonna be my father-daughter dance song at my wedding," and she's like, "This is full circle." I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." I'm like,
Especially since she interviewed them on her podcast. I saw that.
Yeah,
That's
I need to
crazy.
listen to it. That's so wild. They're like everywhere now because they're promoting this album and like this concert that they're doing. But yeah, I've never really like, I don't know. Yeah, I see more people like they're people, they're humans too. Like I don't want to like put them on this like super pedestal, like they can do no wrong, or like
Oh yeah,
I'm
no.
be outraged if they something like I'm not that level of fan. Like I just like their music or I like them as a person. So that's why I've never called myself like any whatever like fandom name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially not.
I think I've kind of grown out of that though a bit.
50s.
Yeah, like when I was younger, I'd always be like, "Oh, like I'm a believer" or whatever. But now I would never walk around calling myself that. That is too much for me. But
Yeah.
like I think like I used to be very invested in like every single step of what like Justin did, for example. But now I feel like before I used to put them on a pedestal, but now I think, like you said, like they're just humans and like they're just more popular than I am.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, like they go to bed
mistakes.
in their bed and that's it.
Yeah, they make
Like,
mistakes. Like things are gonna happen. Like a couple of weeks ago when her book came out, telling people like why they should go read her book and learn more about her. And I was just saying, like, I think it's really important that you did that, because not just for her, but for anybody. It's like we only see such a small glimpse of these people's stories. We will never know everything that's going on. And it's important for them to be able to have the opportunity to share it in their own words when they're ready. And, you know, like she's really young. She's our age, like to be writing a book, like she's lived so much life. Like she'll probably write another book in another 10, 15 years, sharing how much she's learned from that point. And like, you know, these celebrities don't and cannot share as much in real time as we do for safety reasons, or because they're touring or whatever, movies, or like they're under contracts or things like that. So like we will never know everything that's going on, and that's okay. And people need to understand that what you do choose to put public on, and although it is the truth, or it should be the truth, isn't the whole truth.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people like think that they deserve to know a lot more than they get.
Yeah.
Which is like annoying. Like, for example, I'm gonna keep bringing up Madison because that's like the most recent things I can think of. But like, she's like in a relationship, and people are always like wanting to know more about like them in that aspect. Or like, I even saw on like Twitter the other day, like he doesn't post a lot about her. So then they were like, oh, like she should break up with him because like he doesn't like support her or whatever. But I'm
But
just
then if
like,
he
how do
posted
you
her
know?
every
Like,
picture, they would be annoyed that like every
clout chaser. Like,
yeah, like
yeah.
no one can
That's
win.
like where I'm like, people are annoying.
You can't win. I literally
Mm-mm.
I'm pretty sure you've heard me say this a million times, but like I will never post my children or my husband. Like I'm not first of all, I'm most definitely never posting a bump pic holding my stomach. Like that's major now. And I'm just not gonna be like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be fucking up a wall. And I'm not gonna be posting my husband and my kid in every fucking picture. Like on occasion you may see them in the background or like I'm really proud of like whatever they accomplished kind of thing. Like I do that with my family or my brother. Like they're a part of my content on occasion, but they're not my content. Like they're not
Yeah.
my personality. They're not in real life my personality. They're not my online personality. There's some things that need to be kept private and sacred. And like I actually created a private account for my friends and family. Like I never had that. My one account was like everything. And I was like, when I do have a boyfriend or kids, like I do want to be able to share pictures for my family and friends, but I don't necessarily need the whole world to see that. Like that's not
Yeah.
who I am. And as I'm, with TikTok and there's more discoverability now, I'm like, I don't really need like random people on the internet seeing that side of my life. Like that's private and personal. And like celebrities do the same thing. We need to respect that and give them the privacy that they deserve. Because that you would want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I kind of like when there's like family channels. I
Those
don't know like how I
make
feel
me
about that
cringe.
per se because some of the kids, like I just feel bad for them. What's their names? I think their names are the Labyrinth family.
Yes.
Could be wrong.
Yes, I know who you're talking
But
about.
they're like
Yeah,
this
I know who
white
you're talking about.
family. Yeah, and then there's their one kid looks miserable in every single video they post. And like they just keep popping out babies like left and right. Like I don't even think they like right after the baby's out, like they have another one. And it's like it's come to the point where like it looks like they have babies just for like their YouTube channel type of thing. And I don't know. And like I feel like so many kids are like in that like world are just thrown on to the internet and like they have a following after and everything like that, even if like they may not like even want that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of sad in a way to think of it that way.
Yeah. They don't have
Mhm.
autonomy to make their own decisions. And that's like my thing. It's like if my kid wants to be a part of my content or wants to like do a try on haul meet, cool, then yeah, of course. But until you choose that you want to be on it, like I don't I want you to have your own private life, like away from because growing up online, like you said, like you grew up on a very toxic platform, like social media is toxic. It can be. It can be really great,
Yeah.
but it can also be really toxic. And I would rather them be able to have their own like identity and lives and choose to be a part of these things. And like, you know, if I didn't love it and want to do it, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. But like not gonna like, make
There's also,
it's not a bit. It's not for like other people, it's for us.
yeah, there's also so many like creeps on the internet when it comes to kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't think I'm ever gonna post my kids on the internet. Never say never because I can't say it now. I don't have kids, but like I don't know, at least when they're little, like I don't think I'll post them.
Yeah. I if
Yeah.
I'll be really shocked if I post like my kid's like face and like ever like like you'll see me holding a baby maybe, but like
Right, right.
not even like that's not really my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have kids either.
Yeah.
Nowhere near that. It's something I
Oh,
think
me
about a lot
either.
because people my age are starting to have kids and like you're seeing it a lot more and it's just like
I know.
I'm like, nope, not for me. Or like I love like I'm glad soft launching became a trend.
Oh yeah.
Like I was gonna do that anyway. Now there's a name for it, but I was just gonna post like two drinks, like an arm.
Right.
Like I do that now. Like I'm with my friends, and like you'll see that there's someone there, but you won't know who it is. And like I'll tag them a hidden tag if they want to reshare it. Cool.
Hmm.
But like I'm not blasting them. Like I'll blast my brother because my brother doesn't give a shit. He like wants the attention. So like I'll put him everywhere for people to
Wants the
follow him.
attention.
That kid's a mess. I was recording a podcast earlier and he walked by and he was like, he saw whoever I was recording with. And afterwards he was like, who is that? She was hot. And I was like, walk away.
That sounds like my brother. That sounds like how old's your brother?
21.
My brother too.
Mine too.
I was like, go
We
away.
should all be friends. We sound very similar.
My brother does that all the time. I'm like, can you just like be quiet for once?
Yeah. And then he was like, can you lower your voice? You're screaming into the microphone because I had headphones in. And then he was like, but it's okay. I'm just here watching. I was like, go away. But yeah, no, and you said you guys talk about mental health too, and like you guys share like deeper conversations as well as like these fun, lighthearted conversations. And I know Amanda, you're really open about your mental health, and so am I. Lauren, like is that hard for you to share like that aspect of your mental health, or is it because you're talking to like one of your best friends and it's like a lot, and like is it therapeutic? Like what has that experience been like for you sharing that on a microphone and like having that connect with people?
Hmm. It's definitely therapeutic. I feel like if I started this like a podcast before, I totally would have been like scared about speaking up just because it's a very vulnerable thing to talk about. Um, and I feel like I've definitely healed a lot of the parts of me that needed healed, so I'm like comfortable talking about it now.
Yeah,
Whereas before I wouldn't have been because I was still like in it, But I think I've
for
definitely
sure.
come to like a better like headspace with it all. So it's been very comfortable. And then talking to Amanda, obviously, who is like so supportive about everything, it's just like makes everything extremely comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm like looking at my notes app and there's it's like you know the TikTok trend that's like don't look at a girl's notes on her
Oh,
phone.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm like looking at it.
Oh, you're weird.
I haven't participated in that trend because I don't go through my notes. I have one that says X. And I'm just like, I wonder what the heck is on there. All I see is flip flops. That's like the first one.
Oh,
Um,
flip-flops. I hate feet. I'll put that out there. I
feet.
hate feet. Like, do not show me your feet
I don't
ever.
hate feet, but I don't like seeing men in flip flops unless they're on the beach.
Men in
Like, I don't want to see
Flip.
like
Ugh, yeah, feet. I can't talk about it. It makes me like feel weird.
yeah. No, but I love having these more like lighthearted, fun conversations because I feel like I've been having such like in-depth business like conversations lately. Like this is like a more fun, lighthearted
Hmm.
one. Um, what is like what are some things like your go-to topics? Like if you feel like you don't really have anything to, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's always something to talk about with pop culture. Or like if you're me, like there's always some crazy story going on in my life to talk about. But like, what are like some of your go-to like topics or icebreakers like that you guys like love to share on the show?
I guess it's hard with only 4 episodes, but I
Hmm.
feel like right now we've talked a lot about things that we've spoken about personally, but we brought it to like a bigger scale and like talked about it more in depth. But I'm like, oh, I love talking about mental health just because I feel like when I was growing up, no one really spoke about it to me. So I was like always looking for it on the internet, like, oh, like when I was depressed, I didn't know that was like really a thing. I found it
Yeah.
out myself.
You know how I found out that like my whole like mental health journey was actually Demi Lovato's documentary. Like when we were in like
Oh my God.
Amanda, you and I are the same age, like when we were in like seventh grade. I forget the name of the documentary now. I don't know. It was like right when she was like transitioning away from her like Disney phase
Mm-hmm.
into
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
good and like her book. I
I
have
don't know what it's called.
somewhere.
But I know it's yeah, like I feel like that was just like how
That was the very
I
beginning of
found that
me
stuff.
like
Yeah.
recognizing, like I remember her sharing it and I was like, Mom, I think I might be bipolar. And it ended up being that I have both my voice is cracking, that I have both depression and anxiety, not bipolar. But it was that like seeing people start talking about it publicly and share their journey and their experience with it. I was like, okay, like I'm not alone in feeling this way. And yeah, I
Yeah.
love that we get to be the ones to do that for the next generation
Yeah. That's
and for
kind of
our
like yeah,
own
that
generation.
yeah. Like that's where like I found out a lot on Tumblr. It was probably not the best place to be because that place was like I don't know if
Homeowners
you've ever
toxic.
been on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It was
had
so
some.
toxic, so depressing. Like
Yeah, it was
I
dark.
think that place triggered me a lot. And I didn't realize that at the time, obviously. But like, how deep do you want to get? Can I like
Go, no,
okay.
go.
Okay. Like on Tumblr, that's where I kind of like learned about like eating disorders and stuff. And I was like, oh, like these people got skinny because they didn't eat or they would like throw up and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then like I was like, oh, like at the time I was struggling a lot with my body and I was like, I can get like that if I do those things. So I kind of like gave myself an eating disorder because of what I saw online. So that's like the bad part to it. But I feel like that's why like I want to create like a space where like I talk about it in a way that kind of educates people and not make them do what I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, absolutely. I think that's the beauty of being able to share a story. It's like I'm telling you what I did, not to encourage you to do it, but to one, show you that if that is your experience, like there is like somewhere, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, like you can get to a better place. Like I'm proof of that, but also that, you know, don't do what I did. Like if you see yourself going through these same things that I'm going through, like now you're hearing someone's experience who has been through it, and like look at where I am now and I'm reflecting on it. Like maybe check yourself, like look inward, and I'm giving the tools to be able to do that a lot more, because yeah, we didn't have that growing up. It's actually funny that my mom walked in here as we were talking about this, because they don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we get to be the ones to help people with that.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell a story
Go.
about my parents. So when I was 16, that's when like I really started like self-harming and stuff. And these people at school told on me. They went to like I don't know who she was. Like I think she was a principal. And they went to tell her, and she didn't speak to me about it. She called my mom. She told her what people were saying. And I think like obviously like now like she gets it a little bit more, but at the time it was more so like, why would you do that? And like why do people like have to know about it, versus more like, are you okay type of thing.
My mom
So I think like
the exact same way.
Yeah, it's like hard because I don't think they get it. And because not because they're like ignorant or anything, but because they didn't grow up in like a culture or society that
Generational
like
society, yeah.
spoke about it. Yeah.
That, and
So
I think cultural too. I don't know, like my parents weren't born here. I don't know if your parents were born here, either of you. But I think a lot of that, even though they grew up here and they went to high school here, their parents were not at all a part of society the way that they are for us.
Yeah.
So it's a generational thing, and it's also a cultural thing. Beauty of the internet is that we are able to share these experiences in a way that is organic, and like a podcast where it's like you're just in your like event session or a happy hour with a friend, like you said, the 3 a.m. phone call. Like for me, it's like if you feel like you need advice and you need to talk to someone because you don't know where to go and you feel alone and you don't, like you have all these questions, like I hope that there's a podcast episode somewhere in here that like helps you with whatever it is you're going through, because you're never as alone, I think. So I love that.
I agree.
For you guys through like Twitter and like through meeting people online and really being able to build something like that. Like where do you see the podcast going from here?
I mean, I have
has
a lot of like,
goals.
Yeah. And it's like I think it's just because I've been doing like this stuff for so long that like my head goes like literally God knows where half the time. But I don't know. I'm excited to like see where it goes. I want to have guests on, specific ones.
Yeah, we're excited for guests.
Can you
I think that's gonna be like
like dream?
Oh, we don't have any like planned, but
like who would you want to have on, like dream guests?
I think it
I would
only
say
makes
Madison.
sense.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. It only makes sense because that's how we met. So I feel like having her on would just kind of be like full circle.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool. I've never done an in-person, actually not that I recently did an in-person podcast episode for someone else's podcast. But yeah, I don't know if I could conduct a full episode myself in person. I feel like
I've done like one in-person one, but it was like not like I want to do it like in a studio type of vibe. Like that stuff.
I have that experience, but I haven't. Mostly because there's not really studios here. But also I'm just so used to doing it on Zoom. It makes it so easy. I can talk to anybody. Whereas like in my city, I'm like limited, and I'm not going to travel for podcast episodes like yet, unless I'm like already going to be there for some reason.
Well, the only person I travel with, Madison said like, okay, like come here and I'll be on it. Like I will be on the next plane. But yeah, obviously like more so like I would like plan it like, oh, if we're going like here and like there was someone I knew was there, like that's how I would like
Yeah.
plan it usually.
Yeah.
Unless they're
Okay.
like
Or
that.
like we said
Yeah.
earlier, just make a trip out of it. It's always fun.
Mhm.
Going to LA is always fun.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
like, yeah, if I'm in New York, like, I try to make, like, get a coffee or, like, lunch or dinner with some clients or someone to be able to, like, get the most out of it. So I would do, like, a podcast episode.
Mhm.
While I was in Dallas, I did the same thing. I try to make the most of it. Like, not really intentionally trying to make business with pleasure, but, like, if I can knock two birds with one stone, like, why not?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's only like usually like an hour of your
Yeah.
time, and then the rest of it like as long as you're doing other things too, it's not solely business stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see. Yeah, this episode will probably go out sometime in July. So you'll have quite a few more episodes up.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where it goes for you guys. And I think
Thank
it's really
you.
cool. Man, I don't know how you have like 300 different podcasts and you do all the editing that you do. Um,
I don't
yeah,
know either.
props to you. Actually, I made a TikTok about that. It's like, if I ever gave you the illusion that I have my shit together, I don't. I'm just delusional enough to think that I can or that I do. And I'm like, that's me when people ask me
Me.
how I do everything that I do, and like you're the same way. Lauren, what do you do? Are
So,
you in school, like work? Like, what do you do outside of the podcast?
so I have a couple of jobs. My dad owns a daycare. It's an at-home daycare, so I work for him. And then I also nanny. And I got really into doing nails, so I do nails on the side too. And then photography, I'm kind of starting that. So,
Yeah, that's good. We
yeah.
love a multifaceted person,
Yes.
or someone who has a lot of different ventures. I think it's really important. Like, as someone who I'm a little older than you, like someone who it's so important to have multiple streams of income to be able to like build
Yeah.
a financial like stability, like, and
Yeah.
yeah, eventually wealth, it's the goal, but like just like having like multiple streams of income for safety and
Yeah.
security and you know having fun money. Like one stream of income is
Right.
concert money, and one stream of income is rent, and one stream of income is whatever.
Mhm.
Just makes it a lot more, I don't know, less stressful, I think.
Yeah. I think it's also just important doing what you love. If you don't love to do it, like, then you're not gonna enjoy it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't think like your life is so short for you to just do a job that you hate every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like that's just
Especially in
sounds
your
miserable to me.
20s. I feel like because I am so young, I can just like kind of try to do different things and then find exactly what like I want to do.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
also
have my
you could
whole life to
always,
do it.
yeah, absolutely. And you could always combine different things like to get to your
Mhm.
ultimate career. Like you can build your own career. That's the beauty of social media, but also just like the digital age. Is like
Yeah.
anything you want, you can create it. You can make the most of it. Like I built this career that I have by combining two things that don't go together. And I'm successful. If you want to make something happen, like my career didn't exist 5 years ago. Yours might not exist yet. And you never know. But like because you
Mhm.
are following what you're passionate about right now, it'll like get you to that point later on in the future. So I think
Yeah.
I was just curious, just because like I don't really know you outside of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you guys so much for coming on. Where can everyone find it? I'll link it below.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
You can follow the podcast on Instagram. It's that's so us podcast. And then you can listen to it on literally anywhere you listen to
Anywhere.
podcasts. Yeah, and on YouTube. Yeah, that's that.
Cool. And I've shout out Amanda like every episode. She's my editor. I will link her contact info below if you need an editor for anything. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.